Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor to present to you my former classmate. We've seen each other in high school, but we mostly had classes in college, and it's great to have him here, and that is Mr. Eric Perez. Eric, thank you for joining me, man.
Hello, everybody. How you doing, my boy?
So, Eric, so the first thing I want to ask you is, from the top of your head, what are some of your favorite memories when you were in high school or in city college?
So definitely in high school, and it's crazy because even to this day, I still have dreams of like walking the halls back when we were in dubs. For example, like I can remember the crowd of people when we would walk from into the building when you first came into class. You had to go through the metal detectors and the security guards. I can remember the auditorium, the walking towards class. Like I remember history class with Mr. Gonzalez. There's the students, the people. I remember like I still have dreams about walking the halls, so it's definitely near and dear to my heart. I miss it. I definitely miss high school, but you the memories are what we keep.
I had Mr. Gonzalez freshman and sophomore year. I enjoyed it more sophomore year, but yeah, he was quite a case,
He was different.
Gonzalez. But my second thing is, who are some of your favorite classmates when you were in high school?
Man, we had like a little group of friends there. I can remember Steph, Mary, Jason, Willie, Ralphie. You got to know most of them too because you were a year after before us. So by your freshman year, like my sophomore year, we pretty much saw each other all the time. So you got to see most of the people that I hung out with, and it was a great time, man. It was the best.
And you guys hung around even like longer after
Yeah.
we all graduate. I know that obviously, you guys all have families now and things are not the same as it once was, but is there anyone from that group that you still, I would say like once in a blue, still keep in contact with?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Steph, for example, Steven, Lisa, for example, we've all hung out. Lisa's been a while, but with Steph and Steven, like we chill all the time. And if we're not like literally face to face, we're constantly texting each other. We're always connected. To be honest with you, we still on holidays. I'm always like sending them old pictures of when we used to hang out. So with them, at least for the most part, things definitely haven't changed.
So obviously we've always crossed paths in high school, but it wasn't until City College when we got to have classes together,
Yeah.
especially some of those creative writing classes. And looking back now, like I always like cherish those moments, conversations that we had. Um, how would you describe City College? What does City College mean to you now that we're looking back on it?
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy because looking at you now through the video, like I'm just remembering being in Miss Rabbito's class when we had creative writing. I think it was my second to last semester. I think it was spring of 2015. I'm not sure. I think it was
2014.
2014. Okay, yeah. So spring 2014. I remember City College was great for me. I went to City College right after BM. Well, not right after BMCC. I got my associates at BMCC. Then I took like a little year off. My son was born. Had to do a little hiatus there, the DR. When I got back, then I started City College in the fall of 2013. Um, my memories there are great. All of my professors were amazing. I had great professors, my classmates, you included. Classes were fun. They were very entertaining. I looked forward to going to class each day, which you can't always say. You don't say that a lot for a lot of schools.
Yeah, that class that we took with, because we had two classes, one in the fall 2013 and then the other one in spring 2014
Yeah,
with road. So I had an A in that class, I remember. And that class was cool in the sense for me because it not only was my last semester, but also was the last class of the day, and then from there we would go home. And that was on Mondays. I'll never forget Mondays and Wednesdays. So that was the cool thing about it. But City College, has been great. I was there for 3 years. I did my first year in Mercy College, and then I transferred there. In City College, man, I own a lot of debt to them. That institution
yeah.
played a major role, and it made me more of an outgoing person. But you're a father now, so how would you describe fatherhood? How has fatherhood shaped you and changed you as a man?
Definitely, I can remember being my son, he's 12 now. So in 2014, he would have been like a year old. And I can remember, for example, trying to study to do a class and him like running around and not letting me read the way I was supposed to. So it was definitely it's been a journey, you know. I've learned a lot of patience with my son, especially because I was a very young father when I had him. I was 22 when he was born. So basically, as he was growing up and getting older, so was I. So I learned a lot about like, take it easy. Don't I always wanted him to be like older when I was younger, and now that he's old enough to understand, you wanted to go back in time because now I miss him being as young as he was. But I also enjoy that he is older now and understands more. I don't have to like tell him, hey, like let me do this or let me do that. Whereas when he was a kid, he was just a tornado and just, you miss it though.
How old is he now?
12,
Wow,
12,
time
yeah.
flies.
And he's tall. He's almost as tall as me. Like right now I'm like 6 feet. He's already like 5'7", 5'8" at 12, which is so in like a year or two, he's probably gonna be taller than I am.
Do you guys try to involve him in sports early on, or that's not his thing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We for example, when it's warm, unfortunately, because we live in the Northeast, and unless you have a closed door gym, you're really depending on being able to go to parks. So here, where we live in PA, we have basketball courts, football fields, soccer ball fields. So we do pretty much everything. And when it's cold, like now, for example, we go to the gym. So we don't like stay home and not do anything. We definitely try to get creative when we can.
How has been the transition like going from, Washington Nice to
So,
PA?
and so I made 8 years here in June of this year, and as you can imagine, like I didn't want to leave the city because I was born there, raised there. Everything I've ever done was always there, and even when in 2015, in 2017, when my mother was beginning to tell me like, like, hey, yo, start packing because we're getting ready to go. I was like, I didn't believe her. I was like, yeah, like it'll work itself out. The rent was getting way too high. We'll figure it out. It won't come to that, but when the moment did come and we moved, it was a transition. It was hard. I didn't work for the first like few like months, so it was just like a really hazy time because you're just there waiting for something to come through to start working, and you don't know what's gonna happen. You're indecisive, but once everything settled down, my first job here, I was working at Amazon. You come over and there's a lot of warehouse jobs here, so I did that for like a seasonal period, like 5 months. After that, while I was there, I was like, hey, like, this isn't what I want to do. So I want to try to get into something better. I was able to get into banking after that, and I've been doing that since. So it did get better, but in the beginning, it was not easy at all.
Nice, nice. So, will you say that banking is something that you want to do for the rest of your life? Number one, number two, what particular bank are you working on right now?
Yeah, so definitely not the rest of my life, but banking has taught me a lot of things. Sales mainly. Like I know I'm more comfortable being able to speak to people. I wouldn't say I was ever shy before, but now I'm definitely like very outgoing. It isn't hard for me to go into a place and just socialize with somebody. Not necessarily to sell them something, but just for the to make connections and network. That's a very important thing that I've learned being in banking. I wouldn't want to do it for the rest of my life, but I've learned very important lessons that will help me in what I do want to do next.
So, what are some of the things that you want to do, going forward? We can predict, what we're gonna do in the future, but um, name me some things that interest you that you would like to take a chance on that you wanna, say like, I feel like I can see myself doing this.
Yeah, so for example, I'm really good with numbers and dates, and I want to be able to do something, whether it's something that I want to be well paid for whatever it is that I do get into. Some of the things that I like is what's a I like to be around with people. So I like to, for example, coaching is something that I would like to do. For example, like how to overcome objections and being told no. I find that especially for me when I first started at banking, and it's a natural thing. You're always like some of the reasons why you won't mention something is because you're afraid that somebody's just gonna tell you flat out, I'm not interested. And during my years being in banking, I've been able to learn how to like don't take it personal. If somebody says no, the most important thing is to you only miss the shots that you don't take. The more you try, the eventually you're gonna get a yes, you know? So like being able to coach people and help people to understand that, I feel that I can help in that way.
Nice. I definitely hear that. So speaking of coaching, have you looked into some videos, some people that you look up to that are good at coaching? I mean, Tony Robbins is one guy that you could study. I mean, he's like, this guru personality that coaches people and has molded people. So like, have you tried looking into that, like studying coaches who are good at, helping others, to thrive and things like that?
No, personally, I haven't like looked at specific people who do it. In my experience with the managers that I've had, some of the people that I've seen like in the banking world, I've been mainly like learned from them, learned from some people what not to do, both ways, things like that. But I definitely should look into more like professional, in the more professional realm, people that are more famous and what I can gain from them.
You say you like numbers. I Will you say accounting is something that you would consider in the future as well?
Definitely, yeah. I feel like I'm really good when it comes to like budgeting and things like that, how to make your money, not necessarily work for you, but like how not to spend it on the wrong things. And
Yeah,
that you gain that from learning.
yeah, financial literacy is key. So, and
Absolutely.
that's something that for the last, I would say, since late 2021 that I've started getting into that in terms of learning about investing, financial literacy and stuff like that, because those are things that are not really taught in school, to the degree that we're supposed to. I always tell people education never ends. It doesn't stop when you get the degree. You will always learn stuff outside of school just by, I mean, YouTube is one of the best schools you could ever go
Right,
to,
you took the thoughts right out of my head. Exactly what I was gonna say.
that's the
You can
best
learn anything for
university out
free.
there. Yep, and it's free.
Yeah. Going off of that, another thing that I'm very passionate about is teaching about credit. I've learned a lot about credit, and I most of what I learned is through YouTube, and it's I feel like I have a way of being able to teach it. Most people sometimes they don't just want to watch a video where somebody's telling them something; they want to actually get a more involved like lesson on it. And credit is something that I've learned a lot about, and I feel that I can teach a lot of people about also because in honestly in this country, it's pretty much make or break what you can. If it's not in a good place, you're gonna have a hard time getting a lot of things that you want.
Having a good credit is so crucial because you're gonna need that when you're gonna, get an apartment, get a house, a car, etc. Having a good
Exactly.
credit nowadays, forget about that. Is super crucial.
Exactly.
So, you got to look at, what you're spending on, separate your needs and wants. So it's very key. That's very key. So I'm glad that, you're, taking that seriously. And I wish a lot of people, would do the same thing because it is very important. You got to know, how to build credit, how to have a good credit, financial literacy, all that is key. And it's a never, you never stop learning when it comes to
Yes.
those things.
Yeah. Yeah. They're always changing. Things are always being updated. There's always like credit scoring formulas that they're using. For example, there was a time where medical debts weren't being reported. Now they are. Then they went away. So you always want to be on top of that because a lot of people, they fall into a hole. And then the most important thing is not missing a payment because that's 35% of your credit score. And it's as something as simple as if you forgot about it one time, it's on your credit report for a couple of years. Most
Yeah,
places,
indeed.
things like
Exactly.
that.
If you were a business owner, which business would you like to start? A wine business or a food business?
Wine. Let's say wine.
I had a feeling you were gonna say wine. Okay. Respect or loyalty?
Um, Loyalty.
All right. Go to your favorite restaurant or make a um or make your own food at home.
Mm. Make your own food at home. Do we have? Can we give like reasons for that, or is just one or the other?
It could be one or the other.
Okay.
Yeah. 'Cause I would say the same thing. I'm a homebody person, so I prefer doing my own stuff here at home. And plus, you save a lot of money on top of that as well. And
Yeah,
you don't
because I
have to
love
wait. You don't have to wait neither.
yeah, I love to go out. Don't get me wrong. Like there's a going out is an amazing thing, but it has to be done like in moderation. You can't go out all the time because that's how you start getting into problems doing that.
For sure. Um, if you would pick one sporting event, if somebody will give you a ticket to go to a sporting event, which one would you rather do? Uh, an NBA Finals game or a World Series game?
I would love to go to one or the other. World Series if it's the Yankees, NBA Finals for it doesn't matter.
All right. Hmm. This one is funny. Um, Merengue o bachata?
Bachata.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to think one more. Ah, got it. We're gonna go with traveling on this one.
Okay.
Name me at least five destinations that you wanna check off your bucket list.
Madrid, Spain. Paris, France. The Amalfi Coast in Italy. Always wanted to go there. Um, let's see. Let's say Berlin, Germany. Always wanted to go to Berlin, see how that is. And lastly, Tokyo, Japan.
I feel like Japan is one that I mean, because I've asked people this question, and Japan is the most one that is always on people's list. I mean, it's definitely
Yeah.
on my list as well, but that one is gonna take me a while for me to
Hmm.
make that one happen. But I definitely wanna explore Germany at some point, France as well. And speaking of France, like one of the things that I do daily is practice how to speak French because before I go to France, like I want to actually like learn how to speak the language to go over there. It's not mandatory, it's not required, but for me, I want to do that. I want to be prepared before I go over there.
Actually, you mentioning that when I was in BMCC before I went to City College, I took 2.5 semesters. I say half because the half the professor I had was terrible. I hope she's in a great place wherever she is, but it just didn't work out. But I actually I speak French as a matter of fact. If my English and Spanish are like 100%, I say that my French is like 60%. I speak it pretty fluently.
Bonjour, bonjour.
Yeah, yeah, merci, merci.
So yeah, but definitely French and Hebrew are the two languages that I'm currently in the process of learning. So, but yeah, definitely that's interesting. I never knew that about you. So
Yeah, bro. A lot
I
of people are shocked
yeah.
when they find that out. But yeah, I took 2 semesters and I fell in love with the language. And then what I would do is I literally taught myself. So if I'm watching any program like a movie, for example, and they'll say a certain sentence, I'll say it out loud or in my mind, and then I'll confirm it by like I'll go to translate and make sure that I said it correctly. And 9 times out of 10, I end up getting it right.
So final question, Eric, to wrap it up. Now that we finished with the game, just the final question. What's the best advice that you've received in life that stood out to you? It could be so many, but was that one that you heard from someone that you said, man, that sticks with me.
Um, if you if you feel like you really are passionate about something, like actually do it. For example, nowadays with the way the job market is, like I can speak for myself off of this. So I have a job, right? And sometimes you can get too comfortable with the job that you have, and you can fall in love with that complacency, and then you're missing out on by not taking that risk. You're not taking advantage of something that can be greater down the line. So basically, if you feel like you're too comfortable, start making yourself uncomfortable. Not all comfortability isn't always a great thing. I would say that's the most important thing that I've learned.
I definitely agree with that. Is always, I feel like that's one of the ways we grow as a human being. We grow as a person when you do things outside of your comfort zone. And I'm always trying to challenge myself areas that I could, you know, that I see myself, okay, this is not a good comfort zone for me. Let me stick with that. So yeah, I definitely am with you on that one. But Eric, thank you so much
For sure, bro.
for taking the time to do this interview with me. Usually I'm a morning person. I do this in the morning, but I'm like, you know what? Like I had to make sacrifices. So, and I got to work with people's schedule. That's the kind of person I am. So I'm glad that we
Appreciate
made
it.
this happen.
Definitely.
It was, it was a pleasure to have got to know you and become classmates with you in City College and just to see what you're doing right now. You're living in PA, you're in a much better position than you were before, and that's what it's all about, growth and you know continue to be the good father that you are to your kid, and
Thank you, bro.
sky's the limit for you. Just keep pushing forward.
Thank you, bro. I really appreciate that, and I love having this conversation with you. And I actually hope to see you really soon. We gotta link up soon. I'm always, even though I live here, I'm still constantly going to the city. I go like every here and there, not as much as I used to, but that can always change.
All right, guys. So this is Eric Perez. He's class of 2009. I'm class of 2010, but we
Oh,
went to the same high
nine.
school. Media and communications, that's right. We went to City College, and I believe you graduated, what, 2015, 2016?
Yeah, so the my final semester was the fall of 2015, but for whatever reason they had me wait until June of 2016 to walk.
Yeah, that usually that
Yeah,
I've met so many people that they would finish, like, let's say in the winter, but then they make them wait for the commencement ceremony
yes.
to go. So that's probably what happened with you.
It
But
was
yeah,
cool
man.
for me.
Huh?
Sorry, it was cool for me because by walking in 2016, Michelle Obama actually was there. She was at the commencement, so that was a great moment. I took a picture of that. So it worked out.
Nice, nice. Well, everyone, that's Eric. If you guys enjoy this content, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for the next episode of Reconnecting with Former Classmates. Take care, everyone.
All right, my boy. Thank you.